Well, back home now, and Laura is here, and you have some weather warnings for us.
Yes, several of them, Sam. This deep low pressure system from the Tasman is expected to bring heavy rain and strong winds for many parts of the country. Now notice some of these are severe weather watches. They're in yellow, some are warnings in orange. It's likely that Tasman's warning will be upgraded to the highest level, a red warning, ahead of this weather that's expected tomorrow and Friday. Streams and rivers may rise rapidly. There could be surface flooding, slips and difficult driving conditions, so do take care and of course keep on top of the severe weather updates. Now, the last time there was a red warning issued was October last year in Dunedin. South Dunedin in particular saw flooding not only because of the heavy rain but also the rising groundwater. Niwa and a company called Manawa Solutions has just created a tool to identify where shallow groundwater is likely to be across the country. I spoke to Niwa's Dr. Scott Stevens about why this is so crucial.
A lot of places have flood schemes, and part of the flood schemes is actually using pumps to shift groundwater, which would otherwise come to the surface. But that's not going to be sustainable in the long term when the seas start to rise, and because the costs of doing so is a real challenge.
Dr. Stevens says the Dutch are world leaders, but their approach relies heavily on engineered solutions.
And that's not going to be viable around all of New Zealand's coastline, and certainly not for most of our rural areas because it just costs too much.
But first we need to understand the levels of groundwater we're working with. So Manawa Solutions pulled together the data.
They took about 2.4 million actual observations, which have been taken from councils, and then they trained a machine learning model to fill in the gaps.
So for the first time we can see where shallow groundwater is likely to be, flagging potential dangers.
When the ground's really wet, it's prone to liquefaction. When you've got shallow groundwater and you get floods on top, you get worse flooding, and it weakens structures like stop banks, etc.
The flooding in South Dunedin last October was a result of the persistent heavy rain pushing up the water table or groundwater. But a rise in sea level could do the same, which is the next lot of modelling to be done in this project.